You're right. And you, huh? Yeah. A crocodile. What else? So, an alligator, crocodile, all of these things have a reptile. This word tanin is actually brought down by Moses. And Moses says, it says in the Torah as well, that when he threw the stick on the floor, it turned back into a tanin. It was a snake, then he threw it on the floor, the stick, and then Vayehi letanin, it says, it came a snake. So what does that mean? Letanin, it came a reptile, but it also came a snake. The idea of tanin means the family of something that's like a reptile that is somewhat crawling. It could be big, it could be small, and the Torah talks about these big reptiles. It calls them taninim hagedolim. What happened here? I don't know. Interesting. Oh no. No. Snake and a reptile are all under the family of a reptile. They're all under that same category. That's why many times in the Torah you'll see the idea of tanin, which refers to either a snake, a reptile, or any form of animal in that family. No. This is there's mikra pshuto and mikra yotze midei pshuto. There's a rule that the Torah never goes out of its original translation. Then there's deeper meanings. We know that so we know that taninim also mean the Leviathan. There's some that say it was these big whales that were originally in the ocean that were extremely big. They don't exist anymore. Okay. There's some that say that the taninim represents, in Kabbalah, it represents malachim, special types of angels that were created on the fifth day. But in simple terms, the word tanin, v'yashlech Aaron et mateo lifnei paro, Aaron threw his stick, v'lifnei abada v'yehi letanin, it came a tanin. So the tanin represents many types of reptiles, and one of them is taninim hagedolim, represents this thing that was created on the fifth day. By the way, okay, so here's a picture. This is from the Field Museum. Oh, it's my quotes. I love it. Now you know how I'm working. 1 second. Is that good? Okay. It's gone small, but whatever. Okay, this is from the Field Museum in Chicago. This is mostly real fossils. Okay, this is 90% of real fossils. So in Judaism, we don't deny that. We're not going to say that doesn't exist. We found real bone fossils. These are not bone anymore, but they obviously disintegrated, and over time minerals come. What's a fossil? Over time minerals come, and they create, over many years, millions of years they claim, it creates real forms of a covering, another layer of stone that literally looks like the animal that was once there. So they can find real fossils, and they have found. Okay, this is called the Sioux. I don't know what that means, but that's the name of the dinosaur. Considered the largest and most complete preserved fossil ever found. And this is here in America. There are many religious groups that deny its existence, but not us. We say that tanin is something that always existed, and we believe in it. Okay. I'm going to move on to another idea, which is very interesting, that we believe this is getting a little further, but then we know that there was the Great Flood, okay? And in the Great Flood, there we had the Tevat Noach, the Ark of Noah. And why was the flood happening, do you know? What does the Torah say? What was the reason? Two things that were very Hamas, Haaretz Malach Hamas. There was a lot of destruction on earth, and it says that there was two things that really caused it. One was theft. It was theft on another whole level, that you couldn't live in such an environment. If you had something, everyone will take it from you. You couldn't own anything. And the second was relationships, forbidden relations. Society got to a point where also if you had a child, you knew that child will not be in your hands for long. Someone's going to take it and do whatever they want. So this is two things we should learn. Two things that destroys a culture and society. And it's obvious, we've seen this throughout history. One is how we react, how we act sexually, and if we're not educated to behave in a modest fashion, in a respectful fashion in that regard, our society will destroy itself. It will have not long before it gets destroyed. And the second is also in terms of money, how we deal with money and how we are, if we're honest with money. These are the two ways that society can really destroy itself. So it says that not only were the people destroying, but even the land was becoming contaminated. Vayar Elohim ki pehinei nishchata, haaretz nishchat. The land was becoming contaminated. That's also an idea in Judaism. When somebody gets a new apartment, we have what we call Chanukat HaBayit. What's Chanukat HaBayit?
Blessing for a new house.
Yeah, dedicating a new house. So when you get a new home, you want to put good energy in the house. You want the walls to have Torah in it. Not just as soon as you get in, yay, let's have a crazy party. Put on the TV and that's it. No, we want to bring in holiness into the home. So that's also something that we do in Judaism. We believe that the walls are influenced by how we are. The atmosphere is influenced. And we say that at the time of the Great Flood, society got to such a low, it impacted the animals. They behaved in certain ways also. It impacted the earth. And when we believe that when we see contamination in a space, in a place, serious amounts of contamination, there's a lot of spiritual contamination also. Some people can be very clean, but if spiritually they're not with it, also deep within, the dirt on the outside will be seen very shortly. You can cover it for a while, but over time, we don't need to only be clean from within, right? From without, we have to be clean from within. We have this idea in Judaism that the holiest place in the world is, right, the Holy of Holies. What was there? The Ark. It had gold on the outside, wood, and then gold on the inside. What was the point of gold on the inside? No one's ever looking in there. For God, He doesn't need it. But why did we make it beautiful on the inside? It was to tell me, yes, it's to tell me that like the Holy of Holies, your heart shouldn't just be beautiful on the outside, it should be beautiful on the inside. And you know what the rabbis say? From here we learn that not only a great person should be good on the inside as well as the outside, but the other way too. Meaning a scholar who has marks on his jacket, I hope I don't have any, but has marks on the jacket also is an indication of dirt from the inside. Meaning if you want to be pure on the inside, you'll also show purity on the outside. A great person would be clean on the outside as well as the inside, and it goes vice versa, it goes both ways. Anyway, so we believe that we can impact earth. And it says that this is why there was the great flood and whatever. Okay, so we had the great flood. How did it happen? So we had rain coming from outside of earth, from outside of the atmosphere. And also, the earth opened up. Okay, it says that Barotchim kilkelu, Barotchim nidonu, that they failed with heat. With heat meaning with anger, with fire. All these areas of theft, pride, ego, all the areas where we make mistakes is a lot to do with heat. Okay, also immorality, it's all to do with the body getting hot. So it says that Barotchim nitkalkelu, they messed up with getting heated, so the earth also became hot as well. So the earth opened up and waters came from above. So you have heat coming from both sides and water coming from both sides. And this is what it says. That's why we have Chamei Tiberia in many areas in the world, according to our tradition. Some of these areas that we have today, that are hot springs, are openings that were from the Great Flood. Specifically the one that's in Israel, Chamei Tiberia, that's mentioned in the Torah a lot, in the Talmud. Okay, so there was all the animal. Noah was meant to take Mikol HaChai, every living animal, 2 of each. This was a miracle that you could fit it into this ark. There was guaranteed a miracle. That's what the Talmud said. Rabbeinu Bechaya, many commentaries say, is a miracle. It's not possible to fit every animal, male and female, of the non-kosher animals into the ark. You needed thousands of them to be able to fit. But it does say, okay, he took 2 of each, and then they actually went in their own. Okay? But there was one animal that didn't go in, and it was called a re'em. What is a re'em? A re'em. Now, what's that in Hebrew today?
Dinosaur.
No, it's not. So yes, it is. No. It is a dinosaur. In today's language, we say re'em means a ram, some kind of ram or animal that we have today. But in terms of the Torah and the Talmud, the word re'em is actually a certain type of dinosaur that kept on existing even after the flood. Now this already gets into crazy ideas that we in Judaism believe that we lived together for a certain amount of time with dinosaurs. Not only did they exist, but humans lived with them at a certain time of history, of time. And this is something, of course, that the science doesn't say. They say that dinosaurs only lived 65 million years ago, and then they went extinct, and only humans came after. Okay, but we said, listen to this midrash. Re'em lo nichnasimo, the big re'em, which is also one of the names that we have for a certain type of dinosaur, did not go into the ark, and it hanged onto the edge of it, onto the side of it. However, gurav nichnasu, its cubs did go in, because they were smaller, and they managed to go into the ark. Isn't that interesting? And how does science say that the dinosaurs went to extinct? Does anyone know? Do you have a question?
Sort of.
Yeah.
One note. We actually live with dinosaurs now. Birds are dinosaurs in a sense.
Very good. By the way, just letting you know, going back here, you should know that, look, what was created on the fifth day? Taninim hagedolim, the great, I'm just showing you the Hebrew, the great dinosaurs, ve'eta'of lemineu, and all types of flying animals as well was on that fifth day. So it's interesting that you're saying that because they are somewhat related. Okay, yes, what were you going to say?
But the answer, according to science, was probably a meteor that hit Yucatan.
Oh yes, that's exactly it. An asteroid. They say that it was something immediate, a one big impact that was so big, and they claim that there's I have it written here, in Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, that there, 10 to 15 kilometers wide of an asteroid struck. This is one of the beliefs. And this is like an understood theory in science, that there's an asteroid that's stuck in Mexico, and it created the big crater that we have today, and that changed the atmosphere. It caused immediate devastation. Bless you, should I say, if you drop your phone? I don't know. And it impacted the heat, the wildfires, shock waves, everything. And then the environment started changing. Dust, ash, and debris thrown everywhere until there was no sunlight. This is the theory of how these dinosaurs went away, okay? So the atmosphere got blocked by sunlight. The atmosphere blocked the sunlight for months, and then eventually the planet cooled off, and these animals couldn't live. And that's how they died. And the food chain collapsed, and so on and so on. Some say that there was volcanic activity in India that also worsened the situation, and it also released mad amounts of gas and lava and caused the atmosphere to be so bad that all of these dinosaurs died. Okay, yes?
And then there's another theory.
Oh, go on.
That mushrooms wiped out the dinosaurs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They took the mushrooms and then they went, woo! Oh, go on.
I can explain later.
Okay.
If people are curious, you can ask me after.
I am curious. I never saw that
Can
one.
you say one thing that explains it out? Because I'm super curious.
To kill a fungal infection, you need to give yourself a fever, and reptiles can't give themselves a fever. So the dinosaurs died, and then the little rabbits and things survived.
That actually makes sense. It's pretty cool. Anyway, that being said, these theories actually don't go against Torah. Why? Because we said that how did the flood happen? There was volcanoes, there was stuff coming out, and it says actually in the Talmud, look at this, look what it says in the Talmud. Because the people of the generation of the flood changed their ways to the worse, Hashem changed for them the acts of creation, and instead of Kima setting, this is called the Pleiades, the stars that we have, the constellation of Pleiades, which we spoke about in the past. He caused the constellation of Kima to rise during the day, and he removed 2 stars from this Kima, and in this way brought the flood to the world, because in this area of Pleiades, there's a lot of water. The comets are filled with water, and he brought them back down to Earth. And it could very well be that a huge asteroid also at the same time hit Earth at the same time. It doesn't contradict fully, but also the idea that from Earth, also, look, it says, Nivka'u kol ma'anot tahom rabah. All the earth, from the lower parts, everything opened up, and from the heavens, everything opened up. So it makes sense that there was some kind of big change that happened that caused almost all of the dinosaurs to go extinct. But we believe that actually until David, there was still one dinosaur called the Re'im that survived, and some of his cubs that survived the flood. Okay, and this is a story of David HaMelech, David, who was only a few thousand years ago, and he himself says, Hoshi'eni, this is in Tehillim 22, save me from the mouth of the lion and from the horns of the remim, of this animal. Okay, and we're going to see, this is what the Midrash says. This Midrash on this verse, which we take very seriously, Talmudical Midrash says like this. It was a time where David, who was a shepherd, by the way, all the Jewish leaders, all the Jewish forefathers, is fine. It's good. I think it's good. All the Jewish forefathers were shepherds. Why is it good to be a shepherd? Not really anymore, but why was it good to be a shepherd?
Selfless.
Yeah, selfless. You're working with animals. It's a good thing. What else? All our forefathers, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of our currency? Okay.
Know the land?
You live in the land, okay?
No,
It
no,
gives
you
you,
know it.
you're knowing the land. Okay, that's a good way to know the land. Yeah?
Time alone lets you spend more time thinking about and conversing with God.
Yes, that is the idea. That a job that a person should always look for, this is another idea, a job that you should always look for is never something that you're so deep into it that you don't have time to even think. This is something that, from our perspective, isn't the healthiest. You have to have time to think about God. This is something that they always wanted, is to be a shepherd so that they can always talk to Hashem, to connect, to be spiritual. Also to be in nature is something which is very good from our perspective. So he was a shepherd and he was going with his sheep and he found this, he was in the desert. He sees a mountain, he sees a hump and he starts going on it with his sheep and then all of a sudden it starts shaking and it stood up. And David found himself riding on this massive monster and he was going up and up. It was so big. And at that moment, David got extremely fearful. He was filled with fear. And he says, please, God, bring me down from this Re'im. And if you do, I will build a temple as big as the Re'im. And he says, how big is the temple that we will have in Israel? Right? The one that he said he's going to build, which his son eventually finished off. It's 100 amot wide. Okay? And how big is the fossil that I showed you of the dinosaur that I showed you, Sue, that we have in America? How big is the general size of a dinosaur? About 50 meters, which is exactly the size of 100 amot, which is very interesting. Okay? So he got very afraid, and God all of a sudden brought an animal. What animal? He brought the Aryeh. David was very afraid on this huge thing. He brought a lion. Lion is is the head of all the animals, and managed to scare this dinosaur. Ran away. David comes off. He's now scared of the lion, and God also, he starts praying to God, please save me from the lion. And then comes a deer that's very attractive to the lion. The lion starts chasing after the deer, and this Re'em leaves him alone. And David is able to go on his journey and continue. Okay, there are some that explain that he was in the outer worlds. He wasn't in this world. He was having a moment. But on a deeper level, it fits in. The Re'em, according to us, and many explain that the Re'em is a dinosaur that kept going and was with us for many years. This one dinosaur that was left since the destruction of the Great Flood in Torah. So we really believe that there were dinosaurs in the Torah, and there's a lot of quotes and sources to it. Can you see this? Okay, this guy, his name is Philip Curie. He's a Canadian paleontologist, if I said it right. And he worked at the Royal Tyrrell Museum, and he was one of the guys that inspired the Jurassic Park. Some of you have seen the movie? I've actually not. So anyway, 65 million years ago was when they say there was dinosaurs. How can it get so long ago? What happened? Why did they say it was 65 million years ago when we say that even a few thousand years ago there was still one running around, still left? What is the contradiction? What's going on over here?
Time was different.
So one is that the fifth day could have been very long. Okay, that we know that the first 6 days of creation could have been a long time. So the sixth day could have been a really long amount of time. But outside of that, that's the fifth day. But still, we believe that it was a few thousand years, and we say that humans lived alongside the dinosaurs. So what's going on with that? So there are special. I can see God. Take the human being, your DNA, your eye, your blood. The eye, just for a second, sees up to 10 million different colors. And we actually don't see color. That's just a message that's sent into our head. We actually get light. Color is just reflections of light. But really, there's no colors in the world. We just see it that way. It's just different ways that light is reflected to us. Black is completely absorbed. White is completely reflected. And all the other colors are different reflections. It's really just about light coming into our eye. So if you look at the eye, 10 million different colors are being seen. And how does it work? We have, this is ChatGPT. We have cells, right? We have 3 different types of cone-looking cells. There's the S cone cell, the M cone, and the L cone. Okay, each one is a cone, and they are sensitive. The S cone has blue light, is sensitive to blue light. The other one's to green and to red. And they all are sending millions of messages, 10 million messages of different colors that it's seeing of light, of different lights that it's seeing, and sending it to your brain. How can you say that that happens by itself? That is crazy. There's a great rabbi, Reb Kamenetsky, that was once traveling with a professor to Israel. A big rabbi who was flying to Israel with a Jewish professor who was a big evolutionist. So he's sitting with him, and the rabbi says he's with his grandkids and his family and his kids, and the professor's alone. He has his family at home, and he sees the rabbi, his kids are all being very respectful. They're coming to him, Saba, Grandpa, do you want a drink? They're all very respectful. So this professor was amazed. He says, how are your kids so well behaved? He says, you see, as a joke, you see, we are created by God. So it started off with Adam, and then each generation goes down. So every parent is closer to God. As each generation goes down, we're further away from God. But, the evolutionist, he's created by the monkey. He comes from the monkey. So as each generation comes down, you become more human, more better. So, for us, they respect us. Our kids respect us because I'm closer to God. Every parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, they're closer to God. But by the person that's the evolutionist, the great-grandchild, he's more spiritual than the grandparent. The grandparent is like right next to the monkey, he came from. Anyway, so that was his message. We have to, understand that we come from not just randomness, that everything here has a reason. This world has a purpose, and everyone here has a purpose. And this is also something very interesting. This is a fly. Flies have between 3,000 and 30,000 different eyes in them. This is in each eye. Each one of these eyes, a fly has up to 30,000 different eyes in it. It sees not just everywhere, in every direction. Imagine I told you that I have this new plane. It can fly at great speeds. It can land on a wall, on a ceiling, on your nose, on anywhere, on a window, on anything that's anywhere. It can stick to the stickiest surfaces and fly off from it, and to the most unsticky surface. It's amazing. And I tell you, I have this plane, and it's brilliant design, and it just came randomly. What would someone tell you? There's no way. Who is this that made it? But here we have an amazing device. Not only is it a plane that's incredible, but it can create more. It presses a button, let's say, and creates many more. It has many eggs and creates more of them, many more of them. Imagine I told you that just with a bit of wind, A 747 Boeing can come from all directions. You got wind, and then you have this huge mountain, huge plane. You'll say, I'm crazy. Right? A plane just came from the wind blowing in all directions, and you suddenly have a... But look, we have a fly that drives us crazy sometimes. It has 30,000 different eyes in it. 3D, 4D, whatever, vision. It can see in all directions. When we try and kill it, why is it that the fly doesn't die so quickly? Huh? You know why? Because it has so many eyes. It knows how to, it can avoid us, it can move. We think, I've got the fly. Not easy. You know why? Because it can see on a vision much better than ours. There are so many things like this. And I would say like this, that the thing that created, if you tell me, I tell you that the plane just didn't come by itself, for sure, whatever created this, and all of us, and every child is bigger than any other human being. It's not just a human being, it's something greater than that. Something that's not a body, not a figure of a body, and it's not something that's tied to physicality. It has to be something beyond. And this is something we always had. In Torah, we always have what we call Maaseh Bereshit, Maaseh Merkabah. If we look at this world, we could see how amazing this world is. It screams that there's a creator. And if you look deep in the Torah, you'll see Maaseh Merkabah, that the ways that God works, He's going to give us His name. We can't know exactly who God is and what He is, but through the Torah, we have what we call Maaseh Merkabah, different words of Kabbalah, of Chassidut, which tell us exactly how God works, different names of God, different ideas that we can use to relate to Him, even though we can't fully know exactly what it is, because it's an infinite being. Whatever created this fly and all the other flies that can create many more flies has to be something that's not like us. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. That was our discussion about dinosaurs. I hope that was fun. Thank you. Does anyone want to ask something or throw in an idea? Yes.
I just want to fly every time the second try.
You want to fly every time what?
No, I'm just saying, I'm bragging because I just want to fly on the second try.
Ah, okay, that's good.
So if you need me,
Do you see that video of the guy that takes, what's it called? Chopsticks, and he's like,
yeah, that's karate.
is that what?
Karate Kid.
Oh, that's it.
I have like 2 questions, so you choose the one you're most excited to answer.
Yeah, sure. Or the one I can answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Option A is, what do rabbis think about this company like resurrecting extinct animals? And then option B, because there's like a company doing that. Is they're like bringing back to life. Like
I was actually reading about that, so I'll answer option A straight away. I was reading about that. They say that it's impossible to resurrect dinosaurs.
okay.
That's what. Maybe it's wrong, but I was doing like a whole thing just before my class.
Story of Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
But, like,
Okay, go on.
like the wolf that they resurrected. What about that?
I don't know.
If it's not a dinosaur, is it okay?
I don't. Why would it be a problem? Humans were given the world to do whatever they want with it.
Okay.
It's like asking, just respectfully, it's like asking, is Judaism against medicine? God gave us a world and told, maybe He said it in a certain way and we should just leave it. But medicine is there to enhance the world the way it is. And it's not me saying it, this is Rabbi Akiva saying it. You know, we have wheat, and we could take wheat and make a beautiful cake out of it. That's what humans are here for, to elevate the world, to take whatever's physical and bring out the best of it.
We can change the gender, we can change the wolf.
What? Okay. Yes.
One of the ways that they determine kind of like how old a fossil is through like something called carbon dating.
Right.
And I think that there was like a religious theory that because the water from the floods were like so scalding hot, it kind of messed with...
And it had minerals coming from the bottom of the earth because it was opened.
Like carbon dated.
Right. That's exactly. But fossils and carbon dating are 2 different things. There's 2 different scientific ways of studying archaeology. I've got no idea about this stuff, but I do know that there's different ways. One is fossils, and the other is fossils is just facts. We have stone, and these are real things. Carbon dating is something a little different. Anyone else? Questions? Okay. From next week, we're going to talk about Hanukkah and different stuff. We're going to take a break from science. Some life lessons. Woo!